Hello, it's Daryl at 10-Foot Truck, Good Attitudes Services. And I just got back from removal. It was a living room set removal. It was a sofa, love seat, and 2 end tables, and they're all heavy wood. I was able to donate the end tables. They're really nice, solid wood. They looked antique, or pretty old, but solid wood. So they took that. They didn't take the sofas, and it's pretty difficult donating sofas. This is just the way it is. They're really picky about it. So I kept the sofas. I don't know if I'm gonna give them away for free or what I'm gonna do with them, but I just kind of want to talk about how difficult it was getting these sofas out. You may run into this on occasion, and it's when you go to a split level house. I don't know if you've ever been to a split level house. They have them. They were built. They're a little bit older houses, but they were built. They're not quite 2 stories. There's a lower level and upper level, and when you when you go through the front door, on the right side is going up to the living room, the kitchen, and on the left, so it's split. The left is going down to the bottom level. I guess would be the bedrooms and entertainment rooms, or I don't know if there'd be rooms downstairs. So the problem with them is it's always been difficult. I've run into these a couple times, especially when you're dealing with the bigger sofas and bigger items, especially sofas, because here's the issue that I had, is these are what they call the high back sofas. So they have this is a wood frame, so you can look at, that's the love seat right there. You see it has this intricate wood frame and then a back frame. There's quite a bit of weight on these, but the issue is when you're bringing these down, when you're doing the split levels, you have to have this. You have to have them at an angle like this. So you're carrying them like this at an angle, so that you can reduce the amount of width to go through the doorway and then go over the banister. So you have to go over the banister, as opposed to having it lifted all the way above the banister. You can use that space right there, the gap where where the seat is, the back there. That can go over the banister, and you can hold on to this and you can bring it down a little bit easier. Now, one thing you also have to do is to reduce the height from the back to the front to here, because you're gonna have to go through the door, is if these remove, and these did remove, these are about 4 inches width here. And I did measure the back. So here's the sofa. The sofa from the back, you always want to measure from the center, because it's angles all the way up. And this is the highest center of the back. So I'll measure that if I can get this to work. Let me see if I can get this. I got an idea. So you want to go from there to here, and that'll show you. It's about 36 inches. Now if you add these on here, that's another 4. That's gonna be 40 inches. Now most doorways are like, well, some are gonna be 36, unless it's a double doorway, which those split levels don't have doorways. That doorway was like about 34 to 35 inches. So there's no way I could have this on here. And even with these off, we're still looking at 36 inches. So it's still 2 inches over what the doorway is. So if the doorway opened up, you couldn't do a straight shot like this. So you couldn't go, because you can't really carry a couch. I'll show you another example. You have to carry them at an angle like this when you're going through the doorway. I call it on their knees. I call this being on their knees when you go when you're carrying it like this out the door. See, it's on that. You're at the sideways, and you're using the back. You're using it. You can angle. You can twist this sideways and move and get it to an angle, or sometimes if you have to angle it through the doorway. Now, if you were to go, because if you had it this direction, if you just lifted the couch up and you had it flat like that, like it was regular, you're just sitting normal. I'll show you the measurement on that. That's never going to go through. So it would be the floor to here, that's 37.5 inches. So you can't even angle it at that point. That's not going to go through the door, even if you took the door off. So that's why you want to get outside like that and hold it like this. Of course, all the way up. So you're holding it like this, and you'll be able to twist it and angle it to get it through the door. Well, even with that, when you have those split levels, when you're going down the stairs, even though you have this side over the banister, so that gives you room to kind of move it towards the door, because the door is in the center. When you get to the bottom, you're still, because of the length of this couch, when you're twisting over to the door, that it's getting stuck onto the banister no matter what. So you're having to stand it up, and then the bottom of the staircase, and there's not much room there. Oh, and I missed the fact that when you're taking it from the living room to get to where the staircase that goes down to the doorway, to the front door, those split levels, at least in my experience, most of them have a wall right there where the kitchen is. So you can't just back the couch up, straighten it out, and come down the stairs because that kitchen wall is right there. So you have to stand the couch up, get it angled so it's the right angle, so when it drops, when you bring it back down, this is going over the banister, the backside. That backside's going over the banister. But like I said, even when you're down at the bottom, because the wall is here and the banister's there, and you're trying to get the angle of that door, because the door is kind of in the middle, and the door is already limited as far as space, you have to stand it back up, and it kind of got stuck there. So trying to get it out of there it got stuck between the stairs and the door. I thought I could angle it, but I realized there's no way. So you have to stand it up and then pull the bottom out. And even with that, because the doorway was only about 34 inches and there was a screen door, finally I got the customer to agree to take the screen door off, which gave us another inch, because I was sticking out like here, even though it was all the way out. I measured the door and made sure we were just about to take the door off to give us more space and just have the door frame, because the door does add some space, another inch out, and that was where the screen door wasn't pushed, because there was a wall there. It wasn't pushed all the way out, so you had a little extra from the screen door. So we unscrewed the screen door, and even with that and an angle, it barely squeezed through. It was very challenging. So yeah, the split levels can be very challenging when you have big, large couches, especially the ones with the high back. These high backs are very difficult to get through. Now, see, if the back was just right here where the line is, at the low back, it would have been a piece of cake. Because with the low back measurement would be, yeah, look at that, 27.5 inches. That would have been so easy to bring that down, and we'll go right out the door. With that extra, let's see if I can get that over here like that. That extra, look at that. I'll show it a high back. The high back is an extra 8 inches, no, more than 8, almost 8.5 inches from the top down to where a low back would be a regular smaller couch. And I've actually, when I worked at a furniture store, some of the higher backs are even bigger than that. I had some high backs that went even bigger than that. In fact, one story was one time, like, they sold a high back. I don't even know if they make high back sofas like they did with the furniture store. That high back was even higher than this. And we got to a house with a doorway, your average, 36-inch doorway. And I think that high back was probably like almost 40 inches from me. It was really high. There was no way you could even angle it the way it was set up, even at an angle when you're twisting it, trying to get that geometry. Just getting at that certain angle where you can come right through the door. So we had to tell the customer, there's no way we're going to get it through this doorway. And we asked if there was any other ways of getting through, and he said no. And then he agreed to, he said the only way is we're going to have to take the molding out. And he said, let's go ahead and take that molding out, which added another ½ inch or an inch on each one. Somehow we were able to get it through. But so with the high backs and the additional challenge of a split level, if you know what I mean, it's hard to visualize, but you can look it up. Look up a split level house. I don't know if they're built like in the 60s or 70s or 80s. I don't know. I don't know when they stopped building them, but they're a nice setup, but it's just very difficult to get these bigger sofas in and out of there. And sometimes on I did one time go to a split level house, because we have a lot of split levels out here, and it was a challenge. I knew it was a challenge coming down those front stairs, getting out, and I asked if we can go out the back deck, and sliding glass doors, and that was the way to do it. But with this house, the sliding door did not open wide enough for a sofa, so the only way out was the front door. It took some time. I was able to donate the 2 end tables, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with these. I mean, they're actually pretty nice, but the place that I might take, I can't drive all over town looking for a place. I went to one place, they didn't want to take it. I may go to another place, see if they'll take it, just so I don't have to dump it, because they're in good condition. And they have scratches and stuff, but you could probably refinish that. I mean, you could touch it up. This part here, some of the bottom there is scratched. You could probably touch it up, but I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, they were it was a challenge, so we got it done. So sometimes when you're doing removals, I mean, I've done a lot of moving, and I also did furniture delivery, so I've moved, had a lot of opportunities to different types of house, different types of situations for where you had to use your mental geometry. your look at the and always have a tape measure that helps with the measurements and seeing the angles, and then you'll get used to, you'll start to see. But I always want the couch on its side so you can angle it when you're going through that doorway. I'm sure you already know that if you're doing chunk removal, or especially moving and furniture delivery. So it can be a challenge. And another thing you always want to do is, because these feet can add extra inches on the bottom, you want to reduce that width from there to there. Make sure you can see, check to see if they unscrew. Sometimes you have to use a drill, but a lot of them are like this, where you just unscrew like that and take them all off first. Take to reduce that, give it a smaller width. That'll reduce that 4 inches right there, so that helps. And then I always take the cushions out to reduce the weight on that. And this is some heavy wood right there. You can feel the weight on that. That also reduces the weight alone too. Sometimes these are good for handles, but if it's too wide like this, take those off and see how you can do it, And I brought blankets to try to cover up the banister so I didn't get scratched and all that. But sometimes it's just it scratched a little bit on here because it was rubbing against the door. There's no way. It was just not enough space. So it was a challenging day. I did that. I have a repeat customer coming up tomorrow or Wednesday, doing my regular firewood job. I throughout the winter, I have a customer where I replenish their firewood to their balcony and to their and then when they need more, I'll take a cord or 2 cords or whatever to bring it down and stack it for them. So that's a good little regular gig I got for them. And then they also need some hauling, so they're a good customer. So the snow is gone. There's no snow today. It's melted, and we're going to be in the 50s. So the winter looks like it's coming to an end, and that means more work for me and more accessibility for my truck to get out there and work. So I'm happy about that. So that was just a little talk about some of the challenges you have when moving furniture, and not all of it's easy. Another thing too, I might do another video on this. I've been watching all these videos on artificial intelligence and robots, and I always think about, because they talk about these robots, and I'll do a video on that, because I wrote a list of I have this whole list of all the different robot companies that have these humanoid robots that are going to be starting working in warehouses. I don't know if it's Amazon. It has like 750,000 robots made for it, but mostly warehouses and different types of work like that. And I was thinking, God, with this moving, like today, because I was thinking about if robots ever do furniture moving or junk removal. First of all, I'll talk about the robots thing later, because I was looking at the specs and all that. First of all, they don't really lift that heavy, so they don't have ones that lift very heavy, unless you have the ones that are like a dolly. They're like the dog robots, so you can put things on them like a dolly and they'll walk upstairs. But as far as like the one that walks around like a humanoid with arms, those don't lift that much weight, so they don't have the capability of lifting like a sofa. And then I thought about all the different situations I've been in the years and years of doing furniture moving and delivery and junk removal. There's so many challenges like today where you have to have this like depth perception and experience, and just looking at the overall, having different experiences in different types of settings, because all architecture is different. Like, you know, split levels are different. The double doorways are easy. There's some places with stairways that don't have a lot of room on the landing pads, like where you go from one level to the next. There's some houses with the smaller hallways, and they're, you know, some elevators and the way they're set up. There's a lot of different situations that would have to be, you know, programmed into these robots too. And then it's a lot of time it's on the fly. You just show up and you know, it's not programmed into a computer. You just show up, you're looking at it going, yeah, I've seen this situation before, I've been through this before, I kind of know how to do it. But even then, as long as I've been doing this kind of work, there's still places that are just so challenging because of the size of the furniture, the measurements, the way the door's set up, the way the hallway, the stairs, the height of the ceiling, the surrounding things there's all kinds of things you have to look at when you're moving things around, and it's, every situation is different. So I'm like, well, I don't know, but when an artificial intelligence robot is going to be able to just walk into a house unattended, unsupervised, without someone telling them what to do, and unexperienced, and able to just walk in there and do that kind of work, it does take an experience and different experiences. So where, like, if I were to walk into that job today to remove these, and I had never done this kind of work before, I probably would have had to tell them, no, I can't do it, because it was going to get to the point where you couldn't get this thing out. And I might have just, you know, basically canceled the job and walked out of there, because that's how challenging it was to get this thing out, because of the way the setup. But because I've done this before, I kind of have already been through these experiences before, so it makes it easier to kind of go through my mind on how the possibilities of angling certain furniture and how to stand it up and angle it certain ways and put it certain directions to get it to come out these doors that are really small. And I've had other experiences where it was almost going to be impossible, but because I've been through those experiences, I was able to do it. So that's yeah, I'll do that robot. I'll do a video on the robot things I've been watching. That's kind of interesting, because we're heading into that kind of world soon. I don't know if they're going to be available to do this kind of work we're doing right away, but you never know. But if they do, they're going to need to be trained, because there's so many different situations. It's not like a cut and dry grid system like a warehouse. It's not a cut and dry like a blueprint, like for construction, where they do blueprints and everything's kind of set up in a computer model with a CNC, or with a, what do you call it, AutoCAD situation, where it's all programmed, where they can just put the AI into that. The situations can be all the way the yard is, the entrance, the door, all that can be completely different in every situation you go into. The weight of the items, the size, everything's so different all the time. It's never the same. It's never boring. It's hard work, but it's challenging too. Anyway, I think I'll probably stop right there, because it's getting cold out right now, and I think I'm gonna go in and have some dinner. It's nice talking to you guys out there. I hope you're all doing great, and now the season's coming in here soon for this type of work to start booming, and hopefully you'll do great this year. Sterile, Good Attitude Services, 10-Foot Truck, signing out.